everybody, Mike McWilliams, Upstairs to the Right Music Channel. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started here. A quick reminder, we have a live stream that we do every Sunday night here on the channel, 11 p.m. Central European Time, called Sunday at Mike's. We cover a wide range of topics about the music industry, guitars, and other instruments, and we would love it if you took the time to join in with us, join the conversation. Again, that's 11 p.m. Central European Time, wherever that finds you in the morning, in the afternoon, or the evening. I would really love it if you took the time to join in. All right, so, I think what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about how I conceptually came up with my ampless pedal rig. I think one of the first places starts if you're interested in building an ampless pedal rig is understanding the signal flow through a tube or solid state amp. As you know, you go into the amp, the first thing that you hit is your preamp section, usually followed by that is your reverb or your effects loop, EQ section, and then that feeds into a power amp that comes out through your speaker. So with all of this in mind, that should be the flow through that you think of when you're putting together an ampless pedal rig. You don't necessarily have to, and everything doesn't have to be exactly in that order, but it does help to understand that flow through. Now, another thing that really helps when putting together an ampless pedal rig is really getting an understanding of exactly what tone you're seeking. I myself wanted to replicate a Fender amp, the Fender clean tone, as my bass to start from with everything else that I do. I like the sound of humbuckers going through a Fender clean, and then a little added distortion. So I decided to start with where do I plug in on the amp? Well, I plug in here on this Laney. It has a built-in attenuator. When you first go in, there is a load capacitance that happens between your guitar and the amp. And so I thought that, hey, I'm looking for a Fender sound. Fender comes out with a level set buffer that simulates that same kind of load that you would get when you plug into a tube amp. That's a good place to start. So you'll find that at the beginning of my chain. Also, as a buffer, it's really also boosting the signal from your guitar through your pedal chain so that you have an even load going through. It's very important and a very clean one, I must say, at that. All right, so we've plugged into our amp, so we've got to this section here with this pedal. The next, as I said, is the preamp section. And our preamp, since I wanted a Fender tone, is this AMT F1. I've tried a lot of Fender type pedals and amp and pedals. And the AMT F1 really is a clear winner over most of them. I've tried a lot of them. I don't even want to list the ones that I've been through, but if you're looking for a Fender clean tone, you really can't go wrong with this pedal. Not a lot of money for it, about $150 or maybe even less. But in this, you have a situation like you have over here in the Laney, where in the back here we have an effects loop. This has a built-in effects loop. Okay, so we've simulated our effects loop there function. Also, it has an EQ section that's very usable, and that's very similar to what we have going on here. The next pedal in this chain actually is the Noble's preamp booster. We'll get to the Whomper's solver in a minute. So we're going from here to here, feeding into here. Now, one of the things about this pedal is that it is from the 1990s. This pedal was a little bit of a digression here. This pedal is made in the same grouping as the ODR1. This is from that same generation. The same ODR1s, by the way, that are going for almost $2,000 on the internet. It blows my mind when this pedal from the same era has the same ODR boost circuit. All of those circuits, when they were built, were based around a Fender amp. So again, a very appropriate pedal to have on my board. But if you're looking for that ODR, original ODR1 sound, go out and look for one of these preamp booster pedals. You will be very happy. But I don't use it as a booster. I actually use it as a secondary preamp, just to give a little bit of a lift to what's going on out of here, out of the AMT. One of the things about the AMT is it doesn't have a very high output to it. But in conjunction with this Nobles, it really has just a beautiful Fender approximation that I have to tell you that most modelers I've heard can't really replicate. Now, our overdrive is going through the effects loop of the F1, and that is the sovereign. Just like over here, I have the gain function over here on my amp. This acts in the same way. This is my gain boost for this pedal board, and I can't tell you how much I love the Wampler Sovereign. I think if you're looking for an all-around toolbox with a very beautiful tone to it, not just a bland, everyday kind of dull thing. Actually, really exciting distortions, overdrives you can get out of this pedal. The next in this chain, so we went from here to here. This is feeding into the effects loop. The next pedal is actually over here is the Zoom Multi-Stomp. Now this pedal takes the place of several pedals on my board. Going into here we have a noise reduction in the signal path. That's followed by a slight room reverb, and depending upon which setting I'm using, that there's a chorus in there as well. So this really acts as my noise reduction, a little bit of effects as well. It's a fantastic pedal. Just like up here at the top, I have reverb, and I have my effects loop, obviously. So that in the chain overall makes sense because, again, you're following the signal chain there. That all feeds into my Cab Zeus Mono, which acts as my power amp and my speaker simulator. There are a lot of great devices out there that can do this for you. I like this. These are all 1x12s. Again, I like 1x12 amps. There are no 2x12s or 4x12 simulations. This is all 1x12 in here, but they are fantastic. So again, you can see going through the signal path of this amp, I followed that exactly with my ampless pedal rig, and thinking this way actually made it work for me to the point where this is fantastic. This really makes it so that I don't have to worry about taking this amp and miking it up and doing all those things that I used to have to do. I can record silently. I can also practice silently with this board, although I am going to build a much smaller version of this for practice coming up here. But as you can see, thinking through that flow through the way that you would find on an amplifier, tube amp, or solid state really is going to help you conceptualize your board like it did with mine. I hope that this information made sense to you and help clarify for those of you out there really trying to seek some information about how do I go about this. Again, understand your signal chain. Think about the tone of the amp, the preamp that you want to use. Do I want a Vox sound? Do I want a Marshall sound? Do I want a Fender sound? Think about that seriously because that's going to affect your choices in the other pedals that you buy that work with that kind of a friendly handshake with that tone that you're going through with the other pedals. Of course, you can do this on the cheap as well. There's a lot of different pedals out there that can get you, almost there like this setup does. So it doesn't necessarily have to cost you an arm and a leg, but it is going to be an expense that you should take into consideration. Yeah, all right, guys, that's it for today. Sorry, that last little note there I thought was important to throw in there. I hope you enjoyed the show today. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please take the time to do so. If you haven't liked this video and you're watching, and I know you are, hit the like button. Really helps boost this in the algorithm here on YouTube to get more likes, to get more views, to get more subscribers, to bring more content to you. So I do appreciate you doing that for me. Into the next one, you guys really take care, and bye-bye.